Welcome to Vlog Thursday 337, merging all the things, tech talk and live Q&A. I don't know that I'm going to have this one too long, but hey, I say that all the time. Kind of depends on how the questions go and how much water I have to drink and things like that. But nonetheless, I said it later today, because I knew more things would come up to do, as they do. The merger is upon us in terms of, for those of you that know, I'm merging my company with CMWR. And, this is where you get to discover all the little things that, oh, yeah, that one more thing you had to do and set up. Actually hasn't been too bad. The little details have been moving forward. So I'm happy, but it does, of course, take a little bit of time to do. But that's part of life, and that's part of this whole process. I mentioned before, no one here but us and chickens. Yeah, we are certainly running around with our heads cut off a little bit. There's always that, oh yeah, I forgot to put that on the list. Oh yeah, we got that project too. Oh yeah, this is got to be over there. But I think we're handling it pretty well. We'll do some debriefs on the business technicalities channel, because I think that's where the business debriefs are going to be interesting. The tech ones I'll cover here. There really hasn't been any collisions of tech. We're both using some similar tools, few different tools, but we have some of the same things. So I don't know if there's much to talk about on the tech side. There'll be some more to talk about technically, because I talk about the stack we use, but there's a few extra things that are used at CNWR. So there's certainly that as a topic to talk about. So that's going to be kind of fun too. One of the things I wanted to comment on, and let's see, my Vlog Thursday email that someone sent. This question has come up before, and I'm just not worried about it. I'm going to pop it out so I can read it very clearly here. XCP&G is built on RHEL. RHEL is gone now. Well, not really gone. They're in a state of chaos. You've long been a proponent of XCP&G. Are you having second thoughts about that decision? Not at all. Do you have any trepidation about the future of XCP&G going forward? Not at all. What are your thoughts and feelings in general about XCP&G in a RHEL apocalypse? It doesn't bother me. This is something that is documented well over by the team at XCP&G. They use such a customized version as loosely based on CentOS. They know they can move to Rocky, they can move to Alma, they can move to another platform. They can even spin their own. They're doing such a customized version with XCP&G of an appliance that they don't really worry. It's like an annoyance, not a critical feature. So I'm not really worried in any way I can think of at all. Matter of fact, Vates and the whole XCP&G, they now are on I forget what Gartner calls it. They're on not the big Gartner quadrant list, but they're kind of on the radar where you get listed. And the XCP&G project is becoming that big. They just announced their partner program yesterday. So they're really they're skyrocketing in terms of usage and things like that. I know I met directly with the whole team just yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday or Monday. I don't know. One of the days this week. It's been a busy week. Tuesday, I met with the Vates team. I knew some of the stuff they were doing. I work with them as well. So I'm very, they're very forthcoming about all this, by the way. So I sometimes know things only days before they release it, but you can gain insights by hanging out with them in their forum. So there's simply no worries I have about XCP&G. And I'm not worried about Red Hat. Red Hat should be maybe concerned that their behavior will alienate people. So I think Red Hat should have some concerns. The market certainly has concerns. Jay from Learn Linux TV, I think his article he wrote about Red Hat and some other things, and Jeff Geerling, they're two people big in the Linux community who definitely have a lot to say about it. And what they say is not just them being angry or trying to get views. They have a real concern, and it's very valid. So RHEL is still a mess, and I can't really do much about that. But on the other side, let's see here. Does PFsense Netgate have the ability to route different clients out to different WANs? Yes, it does. That's referred to as policy routing. I was just going to bring that up. So is it on the Netgate blog? Let's check that real quick. I think they probably have it there. Yep. So let's share the screen. and bring this up as a topic. Wasn't the topic today, but it was definitely a topic I wanted to talk about. Chrome tab, there we go. Because PFsense 2.7 is released. So now I can go back on all the people that told me 2.6 was the last release and comment that it's not the last release. 2.7 came out, but then they'll tell me 2.7 is the last release, but they're probably the same people that told me 2.5 was the last release, 2.4 was the last release, etc., etc. So I get to laugh about that. Nonetheless, yeah, PFsense 2.7 CE and PFsense Plus 2305.1. So there's a point release as well. I didn't load the point release yet. I'm going to do that tonight because why not? So that's definitely on the list of things to do is get that done. I want to get all the things updated as fast as possible on these. Let me throw this banner up there. The feedback I do is from people emailing vlogthursday@lawrencesystems.com. By the way, none of that changes with the merger. Matter of fact, me and Jason plan to start doing more things in terms of feedback. Me and Jason we're noodling around an idea called Tom and Jason do tech support. So we do free consulting where people send us some things and we'll offer some insights or ideas on stuff. And I don't know, it'll probably be the same thing. Post in the forums, email it to Vlog Thursday. Well, we're going to come up with a couple more things to be more interactive with the audience. It's kind of the goals we have on there. So Chris is, yeah, everybody knows 2.8 is the last release. Quit feeding the trolls. That 2.8 will be the last one. Got it. What do you prefer, TrueNAS or Unraid? I don't have anything against Unraid. I just don't use it. And they're just not something I look at it and it doesn't have the performance of TrueNAS. It doesn't have ZFS. I know ZFS is on its way, but if it gets ZFS, then that creates a problem for the reason people like Unraid I can expand it as I see fit. There's nothing wrong with Unraid as a platform, but for me, more of my stuff and my commercial support goes towards TrueNAS and businesses. Therefore, I'm partial to TrueNAS. But I don't know if you are a user who goes, hey, I like Unraid and I want to use it in my lab. There's not a reason not to use it if it fits your needs. For your YouTube leads, are there more internal IT reaching out for MSPs to see or have the same presence? CNWR gets my team with the merger, so CNWR has a strong presence. They are technically they're bigger than us. They have more staff than us, but it's going to be a mix of they bring more to the table because we would say no previously to certain things I just didn't have in-house skill set for. So now that we have more team to be able to handle those leads at CNWR, we can actually say yes to more things and even bigger projects now. So that's actually a big exciting part where there was sometimes like, hey, this has actually been a complaint. Hey, you guys are booked up for 2 weeks. Yeah, I know. When I am not joking when I say in the last 300 days, we did over 600 consulting bookings. You think, yeah, 300 days, that's 2 a day. No, you got to remember, we're working Monday through Friday. It can be more than 2 a day. Sometimes that's 3 a day because we will work weekends, but that's extra. Not everyone wants to pay that. So the whole merger definitely brings us more resources, which is part of the reason, I wanted to be able to do that was to be able to service. You want to grow. How do you grow faster? If you merge companies, it's actually faster to grow than trying to hire more people, because hiring people with a lot of skills, that's a whole big piece of it. What CRM software to use? Right now it's HubSpot. Invoicing, well, now there's 2 answers because it's Invoice Ninja is what we use for that. They use the ConnectWise manage and sell platform. And we currently use Freshdesk, but we'll be merging into what they use, which is all the ConnectWise ticketing. My bad in the wording, I meant does consulting calls come from other MSPs or IT? Both. We work with a lot of MSPs. We work with a lot of internal IT. I would probably say it's a mix of a little bit heavier on internal IT, but there's a pretty good number of MSPs we work with, especially because of UniFi. UniFi is popular in the MSP space, but if the MSP doesn't have the skill set and knowledge about it, we have a handful of MSPs that just farm it out to us to do the UniFi thing, and then we turn over the keys to them once it's done. So yeah, we do have a whole video on CRMs. I'm not the CRM expert, but if you check out our business technicalities, it's linked in the description. That is our channel where we talk about all things business. Also, ask questions, put comments there. You can reach out to Jason and Brett, and I do some videos on there too, but Jason and Brett primarily do the videos for business technicalities. They're taking requests if you have certain specific asks. And by the way, they're reading the comments because there's not a lot of them, so it's easy. We're still building that channel up, so we have the ability to be quite responsive on because there's not a ton of comments to respond to yet. For a small business, about 4 or 5 access points, you recommend Cisco, Meraki, Ubiquity for wireless. How would you compare these? Well, Meraki's not a bad choice in terms of if you want something that is set it and forget it, because Meraki does work well. You're going to get all the nice updates and you don't have to manage your controller. But that has a cost, the licensing cost. So you have to decide, are you fine with those licensing costs? Do they fit the budget? Do they fit the client budget if you're doing this for a client? Meraki makes a product that works. It's just a matter of the licensing fees that sometimes bother people. This is where UniFi very much is a popular product and stands somewhat alone for offering a self-hosted controller system where you manage it yourself and it works well. We actually have great luck installing Ubiquity. We installed, and I'm trying to even I'm gonna poke around with our invoicing system, trying to figure out just how many we installed, but it's in the thousands last year alone that we installed with Ubiquity. We put a lot of these in. The product works. There's a reason, and Riley Chase has posted this when people say, well, how big is Ubiquity? Because Ubiquity doesn't, other than, their publicly traded stock information, you may not know how big Ubiquity is. But if you follow HostiFi and some of their posting, you'll go, oh, wow, Riley is like, quite open about just how many devices are hosted. He's got this script he wrote that kind of figures out how many devices are in it. I mean, he breaks them all down by device, how many thousands of each model Wi-Fi access point in there. So I find it to be a really good solution. I like it, but you don't get as much support when you have the UniFi. So if it depends on your knowledge, but between me and many other YouTubers putting out lots of videos about how to configure UniFi, I think you can figure it out. Do any of your employees have full-time uh, I don't know what WFH is. We have lots of full-time employees, but I don't understand the question. UniFi released your cloud controller for $30 a month. Everybody turned into everybody recommending HostiFi for your marketing. Yeah, I don't even know what they were doing. Ubiquity was offering it, then they stopped offering it, then they are offering it again. I don't know the status on it. Oh, work from home. I'm wondering if any projects, infrastructure as code and/or configuration management like Ansible, Terra, if any projects you use. Me personally, not a lot. That's not my field of expertise. I have lots of friends that do it, and matter of fact, Techno Tim, whose YouTube channel has quite a few subscribers, also a friend of mine. He does that professionally and has lots of tutorials on that topic. So it's not what I do, but definitely he does. Work from home. Yes, some of the employees are work from home. They come into the office once in a while. We have like different kind of depending on the people. Some work from home all the time, come in the office like once a month. Some come in the office a couple days a week. So it varies. It kind of depends on the employee, what they want to do and how they want to work it out. We don't have any strict, you need to be at the office rules for either company, by the way. I've said the same thing when I meet, especially because I don't watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I do definitely listen to a lot of podcasts. And if you meet someone in person that you've listened to at 2x, you're like, oh man, did they have an aneurysm? They're talking really slow. And you're like, oh wait, you're not sped up. That's why. Yeah, when you start listening, everybody's sped up. That's and then don't. That's definitely strange. Ah. I work from home. I missed 10 minutes, caught someone digging a hole in my backyard. Are you work from home full of remote folks? It's both. Technically I'm the remote person. I mean, I come by the office sometimes. I do lab stuff there because I keep all the servers. I'm not putting them at my house, so they stay at the office. So I'm mostly like I go there maybe for an hour or two and then I come back. I grab lunch. If I'm going out and grabbing something, I may bring it back to the office to eat. So yeah, that's it's kind of a mix. Well, there's still going to be lots of boxes. That's my son. My son hasn't been to the office since he just got back from a road trip up north. We actually cleaned the office, Marcus, so it's a lot cleaner. It's not clean, and it's getting better, but it's the air quality here is just terrible. Yeah, this is the air quality here in Detroit. So I had a trade-off problem here. I ran the AC unit. This is a air gradient system. And I turned on the AC and it did this, but then my AC wasn't running enough. So I turned the fan on, but then I opened the window a little bit because the CO2 was getting high for me being in my office. And I usually crack the windows a little bit to get some air in here. And so you can see I just did this and the CO2 dropped sharply. So we hit this. This is all the fun stuff I've been tracking in my office to make sure I don't suffocate myself. here's the problem when you work in a smaller confined studio space and there's not a lot of air circulation. Such is life. What else though? But yeah, we have the PFsense stuff. This is exciting. Share this tab instead. Throw it back up there. Yeah, I'll be doing a video on this. I'll probably do the video tomorrow. Set this up tonight. Run through, see what's here. Changes to PFsense plus 2305.1. Supporting the project. Purchase tax sources. Yeah. There's a lot of little stuff in here. I do recommend reading. I'll throw this in the link. I tweeted it too. So in case anyone wants to go through and read all the details. Tom Cracks window. I just 24/7 with the fans on. I would if it wasn't for what's going on. Was it air quality? We are having a problem today. Let's see if I can show this. Where are they measuring it? I don't. Allen Park, 186. I'll just share this tab real quick. Let's make sure there wasn't anything on here. Share this tab instead. But yeah, we have our air quality index of 186 right now, but it was 200 something. But yeah, we're dealing with all the smoke and smog from. It's this picture of Detroit. Oh, I think I have a photo I took. I took a photo because I was just kind of blown away. This is me driving down the street. It's so smoggy out that it looks terrible. That's why we didn't want to crack the windows. Inverse question: how much of your workload customers is outside of Michigan? Do you only do consulting or full IT projects? Same as Signals were. Oh yeah, huge number of our customers are outside of Michigan. They're all around the U.S. and around the world. So consulting we'll do globally. MSP we do in the United States for legal reasons. So we keep it within United States and Canada. United States and Canada is fine. There can be different laws that I haven't want to cross that bridge. We just got to have attorneys validate things if we were to take on an MSP client, managed contract client outside of the US, but we do consulting outside the US because that's easy. But consulting is global. It's all over the map. Like I should probably, I used to do this thing where there's a tool called Map a List, and you can dump all the addresses. I would just change the addresses to only the city. I just use a zip code. So there's no, detailed information. I'd grab all the zip codes and plot them. And it's kind of cool to see the density of where all the clients are. They're all over the place. And it's, we got clients in Texas, California, Alabama, South Carolina, I don't know if we have one in every state. That's another statistic I'll look up, is how many states do we have people in? I know at least we've done 2 Indian reservations. So even that was just kind of neat. We helped set up some site-to-site Wi-Fi on Indian reservations. So yes, our clients are all over the place. CO2, NO2, etc. Routed in and out. Yeah. Yep. A couple weeks ago in New York, it was really bad there too. Just dropped below 200 PM 2.5 for the first time in 3 days. Yeah, it's just rough here. It sucks. I wanted to go outside because it's actually nice out. It's like 70 degrees and I want to go do outdoor things, but I can't. I see. Barely see 1,000 horrible, something like that for over a week. Yeah. Plot zip code for center, dollar for radius, and see what the map looks like. I've thought about that. The dollar for radius would be interesting, but it's just some companies have projects that we're doing that are big in some places. I don't know. I guess there's a couple factors I'd have to think about for that, but maybe that would possibly be interesting. I do want to. I like playing with data. When you start having a lot of data, you go, hey, how can I look at this differently and think about it differently? And with YouTube being my inbound leads, they come from all over. Matter of fact, YouTube is only 50% of my viewers are in the United States. 50%, so half. That's why we get so many people that I interact with that are, on the global scale. We have a few regular companies we work with in France and the UK, and one in, I'm trying to remember if it's Sweden. We helped redo a pretty good sized network there, and it worked out really well because of the offset of hours. They were working after hours. We were working during business hours. So yeah. Can't get my WireGuard client to access IPsec VPN subnet, both accessible PFsense Forum question. It's probably a PFsense Forum question, and there might be some challenges of that working. I don't know if you can go from the WireGuard over through the IPsec. I haven't done any mixed environments where I have to do that, so I just don't know if that is possible. That's why you might want to post in the PFsense forums for that one. If you really like data, you should play with InfluxDB, Grafana, and look at doing analysis, visualizations, that time series data. Even if you don't adopt it for production, it could be fun. Yeah, it's kind of novel. I know it's a popular service, and hey, I might have more time to do these things. That's another one of it too. That is the whole reason for the merger is Tom wants to do more videos and play with technology and not have to deal with some of the day-to-day business operations. That's Jason Slagle. He's the president. He gets all that. What was it going to do here? Pull up. Do I have this saved? I want to talk about something. I got to figure out how to put this into some type of email, or not email, video content. I said email. Let me pull this up because somewhere I got to look up the password to it. What did I have the password set to? Change me. All right. So share this tab instead. I'm trying to figure out how to do this because this question comes up a lot. I want to make sure this works so I just updated it. I don't really use Nextcloud very often, which is why there's nothing in it. Yep, still nothing in it. Some documents. What is this? Me putting memes in there. More memes. There we go. The challenge becomes, and I was going to title this, what will help with and what will support, because I get a lot of messages on this. And one of the questions is very frequently is people going, "Hey, help me set up Nextcloud." Okay. But then they're like, "Well, I want to publicly expose it." I'm like, "Well, if you don't know how to set it up, do you know how to maintain it?" And they're like, "No." Well, you should probably buy a subscription plan and an update plan and support. "Oh, no, I don't want to pay any money." And I'm like, if you start publicly exposing these, this is why we won't offer support plans for things like Nextcloud. It's also not really worth it. The challenges are, and another person had reached out to me about setting up like a Samba domain controller and saying, "Hey, will you help me support this?" And I'm like, this is falling under the same thing. What are you trying to do? "Oh, we're trying to avoid having Windows licenses and simplify things." I'm like, you're going to take your Windows client, set up Samba as a domain controller, and you want someone to hold your hand and offer support contracts. That goes outside of what we'd want to support. There's always this thing where we'll help people with a lot of projects, but we always try to push and remind them, how are you going to maintain this? What does the long term look like on it? And Nextcloud is definitely another one of those that is like, I get it. It's a cool service. And I think it's awesome for your home lab and a great place to synchronize and have all your documents. But if you want to use it for your business, and specifically the business that had asked me was in the medical field, and I was like, yeah, you probably don't want to stick all your patient data in here and publicly expose this without a solid plan to keep it up to date and running. So these are just some considerations where sometimes people see me talking about, "Oh, Tom, you like this software or that software." Yeah, but I'll talk about Security Onion, which I've been wanting to do a video on for a while, but that's not what we deploy to clients because it's not going to be scalable and manageable and things like that. I was trying to figure out how to put the video together where maybe it's just a short one, or maybe I just make a list and put it, because on our hires page, we have an FAQ like, "Hey, we'll help you set this up, but no, we won't give you a managed contract on that setup because it's not an easy thing to support." And also, if your reason for doing it is you think the licenses are too expensive, for Office 365 or Google G Suite, then you probably won't like my maintenance plan that cost that I would have to associate with something like that. So that's one of the reasons we don't really look too much into it. And by the way, NetCloud does have their own hosted option, and that's usually what I tell people is, "Hey, NextCloud's got a very reasonably priced hosted option on there," so that's something to consider. As a business owner and someone who actually knows tech, what on a resume really shows knowledge and experience? Just a million versus just a million certifications. Certifications are not bad. They are definitely a step in the right direction. I usually look for someone who's passionate about things. I look for, yeah, especially if you're in the development world, have you done some community contributions? Um, your participation in community. Do you go to some of the hacking events? So there's definitely some of those things get looked at as well, like kind of your around the tech things that you're doing. Then there's going to be on the Q&A, if you get interviewed by me or Jason Slagle, you'll find that we are asking questions that are going to be, you're not being interviewed just by HR, you're being asked technical questions to see if you actually are comprehending these and what's the decision you're going to make. But one of the reasons I hired one of the people was we got in a whole discussion about how they like hacking phones. And that was an interesting topic. There's sometimes those little things that your personal lab stuff can stand out on a resume going, "Hey, I learned how to do this," or "I'm doing this project." Even if it's a personal but very technical project, that can really stand out on a resume because it shows that not just you got some certs or work in the industry, but also you have a passion for it, that you're like, "Hey, I built this project. I set up Home Assistant with a whole automation system. I built a Kubernetes cluster and learned, several different things of how to deploy it, and self-healing setups I did for my home lab." Those are things that stand out on resumes. They stand out really well if you happen to work for a company where you did that too. So if your experience is in that thing in the commercial space, well, that also stands out. 50% US viewership is why we need more MikroTik router videos. They are very popular outside the land of Old Glory. No, they're not popular at all. You can look up the Network Berg. I think that's his name, right? We'll pull it up real quick. He does them, and people don't watch them. He's got as many subscribers as me, so uh, Let me find the video. So if we share this tab, throw it up here. So I just recommend is I don't use MeekerTick. I don't plan to use MeekerTick. And the MeekerTick videos don't get a lot of views. He's got a few on here. What else does he have? I know there's a few. Is it a playlist? If you search MeekerTick, you'll find them on here. Playlists. Does he have one dedicated to MeekerTick? MeekerTick videos. 61 videos.
So we have a lot to cover.
But if you go through these, they don't have 4,000 views on this one. 50,000 views. So, and I don't use it, so I'm not likely to make any videos on it. So there's not a reason for me to make videos. He has the videos. So they exist. Any advice for network monitoring tool? I keep hearing about Zabbix. I need something that will also take regular config backup switches and routers. What is that software called? It's got a weird name. So, someone will probably say it. I say, some the weird name. It means like acid or something like that. It's got in source config network config backups. No, when I see it. There's a few open source tools out there for it, though. Rancid, that's the one. So Rancid is one that's popular for doing that. Nope, we don't sell Kubernetes support. The funny part is what people think it's funny. They don't realize how much that costs to get Kubernetes support. That's another thing on there. People want help with Kubernetes, and if if I know people that do it, but they're going to want like $300-400 an hour, and people are like, oh, that's crazy. I'm like, no, it's not. What do you think Kubernetes support goes for? And if you're giving it away for less than that, hey, more power to you. But if you look around, a good Kubernetes person does really, really well. I was not talking about the devices themselves. He hasn't posted a while because it's been running out of stuff to talk about. Mostly waiting on V7 router to get more feature complete. I can say for personal experience, doing home lab and YouTube makes great conversation with recruiters. A lot of doing projects makes you stick out. Yes. Your view on stuff is different angle, and which I greatly value. But my view is I don't like MeekerTick. I don't care for their bad interface, their quirky software. So that's my angle on it. Like it doesn't solve a problem for me. It creates more. It's like it's one of the problem is, and I've seen it people post in my forums, and someone had a nice little write up they did. They listed all the challenges, and they worked. Someone who works at an ISP that posted my forums, but they posted all the quirky problems they run into with MeekerTick, and you just kind of have to learn them. And I'm like, why would I want to learn a quirky problem system? Like, it doesn't make sense to me to have to learn something like that unless it really solves some problem. What problem do I need to solve? And that's, with anything, I'll try another product. It has to have like a killer feature. And then like, oh, cool. This has enough features to make me want to try another product. And MeekerTick doesn't scratch that itch for me, other than it's about 20% less than some of the other products out there. So it's for pricing. Yep. PFsense has been released. And these here, this is the Ultra Wi-Fi's. I did a video on these. This is another one that I think is a pretty cool product. I did the video on it, but the problem of not having a locally hosted controller. I was trying to figure what you said there. MeekerTick solves one problem. They're April Fools. Why 2 videos are 10 for 10? They have a funny way of doing videos. So I will say that MeekerTick people are funny for that. Their videos have fun presentation to them. definitely can't complain about that. As my CO2 goes down, my parts per million go up. I'm watching. I'm full of hot air, so even with the window open, I'm still adding CO2 to my studio. It's only open a little, just a little bit, just a small amount, but enough that this happened. This is where Tom opened the window at just before the live stream, and yep, here we are, open window. And it was doing so. This is window closed. This is just how much of the particulate matter got in the house. What a mess. Uh, well, I don't know what more I have. What did I have in my list here? So we didn't have in my list, but we covered the new PFsense software. We complained about Michigan air quality. We talked about MikroTik because we can't have a vlog Thursday without MikroTik. I kind of mentioned supporting this whole Nextcloud thing. Kind of goes back to supporting TrueNAS itself, because someone did ask me, and what they were trying to avoid, and I'm like, there's not really avoiding this. They're like, well, do you support TrueNAS? Yes, but someone wanted a full SLA agreement on a hodgepodge of hardware they bought. And I'm like, no, if you buy an IX Systems and you buy professional hardware, yes. If you slap something together and hope to get a full, we'll offer consulting on it, but we don't offer like full guaranteed response, service level agreements, and performance guarantees of hodgepodge of hardware. Kind of the same thing. CO2 is not going up because the window's open. Matter of fact, the CO2 goes down when the window opens. The CO2 is up because Tom's in here. So you can see the CO2 is actually up a little, but down from where it was, because this is where I opened the window, and so that's where it's at. Slow climbs. This is where I left my office for a little while. So I was in my office until here, and I leave my office, and it slowly wanders down as the air circulates. I track this more than I should because I obsess over it, because why not? It's neat. I like understanding all of the different things that control your health, you know? We're just in the, or I'm usually in the green. If we go back, can I go back a week? I think I have a week's worth of data. I'm usually way down here in the green quite a bit. It's usually not too bad in here. Thoughts on using Cloudflare as DNS for my domains in the process of moving off Google domains? Cloudflare does a good job with DNS. I don't think there's any challenges with using them. Don't think there's Cloudflare. Cloudflare is probably I'm trying to think of the other one that's in my head. You can use like, I'm trying to remember who's free. Maybe Route 53 is not free. That's the Amazon one, but the Cloudflare stuff would be good. So I don't see any problem with that. I like Hover for domain management, though. They actually have some DNS, but it depends on how advanced you want the DNS. Hover covers the basics of DNS, gets the job done. Following up on your recent IP camera roundup, what systems would you say are the most vendor neutral, having compatibility against a wide range of NVRs? I guess if you're buying the Amcrest cameras, and so many cameras are just standard OMVIF now. So as long as they're OMVIF compatible, they work. I use mostly what we sell the most of, and we sell some of the UniFi ones too, but the majority of the camera sales that we do are going to be for the Synology surveillance stations. Those are really good sellers. The system works really, really well. They've just had another update that's rolling out that finally fixes the H.265 problem, where it's gives Chrome updated the way they handle H.265 rendering. So it's provided your Chrome version is supporting the H.265 hardware rendering, the Synology can now display H.265 video. This is a limitation that Chrome had, and I'm glad they've figured it out between Chrome and Synology. So that's rolling out in the new update on there. But for the most part, it's we do a lot of Amcrest, but you could do more than just Amcrest. You can do a big variety of cameras with the Synology NVRs. Other times when you don't want to encrypt ZFS dataset where it creates headaches, excessive snapshots, performance issues. I mean, if you have low performance machines, and I brought this up before because this is actually a problem I have, is my system, if I encrypt my videos, I get slow performance. But this is kind of a me problem. So here's my LTS video. Make it bigger. So you can see LTS video is unencrypted. But this system is an Intel Atom. This does not score particularly fast, this Intel Atom. And because the decrypt is limited to single core performance, there's a benefit to not encrypting it because it makes my videos edit slower. So yes, there are times when you may want to do it, but it's almost always a low performance system. If you're looking at things in the enterprise environment, not really an issue because you usually don't have people who build enterprise systems that they want performance on using an Atom processor. Yeah, Cloudflare tunnels are pretty neat. I think it's a pretty cool thing. I want to play around with Tailscale's version of it. Tailscale's got the tail, I forget what they're calling it. They're coming up with some of their own tunneling stuff on Tailscale to be able to get services routed out from there. So I think it's kind of neat. Cloudflare is great. Cloudflare is great and free is more enough for most people. The problem I have is their API. Last I checked, you had to expose admin level keys, get left encrypt working. No real way to lock this down to a specific name or specific set of DNS entries. Do you work with any external security companies to install and configure cameras and other sensors and have them provide monitoring and security as part of the whole site install? No, we don't sell any actively monitored, like alarm monitoring. We do not sell that. Not at this time. Maybe in the future, but right now we do not sell alarm monitoring or watching of the cameras like a security company does. Synology doesn't require a license for their own cameras, but I'm not sure how those cameras compare with the other vendors. I like them. Here, I gotta post my follow-up review. I do have a puzzle sometimes in it, so let's pull it up real quick. So the cameras work really well, but sometimes, and I don't know why. Let me see if I can find it. Scroll down. No, I probably got to go right to the camera to find it. So if we go to the recordings and we filter for that camera. Matter of fact, is tampering in here? It's the tampering that it has a problem with. People, vehicle, tampering. See, this is a tampering detection. I don't know what causes it. I haven't figured this out yet. Let's look. Because I got to notice that someone tried to tamper with it. Oh, okay. It's a spider tampering with it. Never mind. That's a challenge when there's spiders on the camera. But this is the Synology BC500. I really like the camera. It works well. I have no complaints about it. I've been using it. We used it for a while at my office, and then it's home now is my home. So the camera works really well. I'm very happy with the Synology camera. I think they've done a good job with it. This is the picture quality during the day. So the picture quality is good. The grass looks green, and my truck is parked right there. But yeah, no problems with it. So it watches the squirrels for me. Question on TrueNAS. Have you had to deploy upgrade client ZFS arrays with metadata videos to speed up the old spinning Rust? I'm planning on ZS Pool. It's kind of a rare thing that we need to. it depends on the use case. So yes, but do they have a use case for it? People seem to think they need it when they don't. The first and foremost thing you should do as ZFS, TrueNAS, is throw more memory at it before you get a special metadata VDEV. It really comes down to how many files do you have? Do you have enough files where that would make a difference? Wendell did a good video on this where he talked about having like 500,000 files in a directory. Well, that's a good reason to have one, because if you have all these tiny little files, you might want that. But do you? So it's one of those things that it depends on your use case. People think they need a read cache. I've got a whole video on that because you probably don't. Pull the tampering detection up again because it looked like a bird. No, it's a spider. We'll pull that up again. That's a moth or something, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's probably a moth. We'll go with moth. But yeah, you can speed it up, but it may not speed it up much. Like someone wanted to put metadata ones on it was a virtual machine target for storage. I'm like, well, that's not going to make any difference. That's not save the money and spend it on RAM. So it really always comes down to what your use case is and your workload is. With the rise of WireGuard as a site-to-site VPN, do you see IPsec going soon? No. Are there times when you've actively replaced one for the other? No. If you have a working IPsec VPN, I don't go, hey, I have an idea. Let's bill you to replace it. But if you said, I have 2 PFsenses and I want to set up a new VPN, we might set WireGuard up. I don't really see it as a replacement, like it's going to replace it overnight. IPsec isn't going anywhere. IPsec is still like the most popular when it comes to site because you just don't see Cisco's not going to WireGuard anytime soon, and PFsense is interoperable with Cisco, and we have PFsenses talking to Cisco equipment on lots of projects. So I don't really see it going anywhere. It's going to be just one of those things that just keeps on going. So like I said, less of a replacement, more of a offering. But I'm like I said, I'm not going to actively go out and replace someone's VPN just because. That's a reason. There's always have to be a reason. People don't like surprise billable hours unless it has a real purpose. I mean, there may be some client that just wants to switch things, but I haven't really found those clients that go, hold on, I just need to spend some money with you. I mean, if you know a client like that, I'm cool with them if they just want to do things, but generally not how that works. Oh, before I wind this down and get even further off topic, do I use any cool gadgets to clean cameras? Nope, nothing cool. I mean, just a standard, I don't know, whatever these are, the soft cloths, the microfiber. Microfiber was the word Tom was looking for. So microfiber cloths. But the other thing I'll mention was this before I wind this down, because I did do this the other day. We did the bike to the bay. I still left the link down there. You can still donate to it, but raise some money. There's me and my funny bike and my friends that did it. I did not do 100 miles. I did 52. Jay and several other people, Matt Lee, who you may have seen on his channel before, and his wife, they did over 100 miles with our other friend. So yes, we definitely did some big miles. They crushed the 100, which was awesome. I'll do the 100 next year. Not doing the 100 this year. But I'll probably maybe I'll do a 100-mile ride before that, but definitely had a lot of fun doing that with my friends. So that's the thing. And then we were all celebrating later. We did raise. Well, we're just raising money. We certainly aren't the people knowledgeable about curing it. But we brought them $15,000 closer to a cure. I don't know how to quantify that, but I can quantify the dollars. Last I checked, a little over $15,000 we raised. Would you use RainX on a camera? I don't know. That's a good question. It might help. If it destroys your lens, don't blame me. I don't know if there's incompatibilities. Dave Plummer has a cool gadget he uses to change light bulbs. Will probably work for cleaning cameras with minor modifications. Dave Plummer's just a fun person to watch. If you don't know who Dave Plummer is, Dave's Garage YouTube channel. Turns out me and him were messaging. He likes my TrueNAS videos. So I messaged him. I was a fan of him. And then it was even funnier when I learned that he was a fan of he thought my TrueNAS videos were very helpful. And so I was like, oh, cool. Fanboy moment. Just download PFsense CE 2.7, loaded my previous backup from PNS Plus, and had no problems. Awesome. I love when people have no problems. Off to go clean some condensation under a data center. My bet was a June bug, but a good one. All right. Only had to buy a new free license, see the upgrade PFsense Plus under system update. Cool. That's awesome. So I'm glad it went well. But I think I'll wind this down here, or I'm just going to wander around off topic. And I have a few more things I want to get done before the end of business today, which it's almost 7 p.m. So technically it's kind of the end of business. But, I get more time that as long as I'm awake and cognitive, I usually keep doing something that's pushing forward, either videos or projects or something like that. But hey, as always, love hearing from all of you. Email vlogthursday@lawrencesystems.com. because I love, the emails make it kind of fun. Post in the forums. I'm very interactive in there. That's, by the way, Discourse said something nice about me. They wrote a nice article about me using their forums. I thought about doing a video of how I avoided the Reddit drama, how you build a community without the Reddit drama. And it's just like, yeah, there's a reason I wanted something self-hosted for my forums and not be part of someone else's idea of what a forum should be. And that's the problem with Reddit is ultimately their idea of how a forum should be run. You're just a guest, and you may be an abused guest is what's happening now with them kicking the mods. So I've avoided that drama by hosting my own. So yes. Motorbike question. Do you use chain spray or oil a chain? It's like kind of a waxy type thing. There's a liquid, and then I usually use a cloth. If you're talking about bicycles, I usually use a cloth and work the chain and work it all in there. I have the chain cleaner and everything else. Who makes that tool? Park Tools. First, I clean the chain with the Park tool. Then I use the ProLink is the specific lubricant I use for that. It works rather well. If it's motorcycles, there's another brand I use for the motorcycle stuff, but ProLink is what I use for the bicycle chains. There, you've learned Tom's biking secrets. How I maintain my bike. That's not this YouTube channel, though. Thank you very much, everyone, and take care.